Rice reminds me that today is a very special birthday. 30 years ago today, the very first Animal Magic was transmitted. Do you admit to remembering this? Tell you, took me back so far, I was almost sucking my thumb there. Well, I'm delighted to say that Johnny Morris and Terry Nutkins will be here to talk about those early days. And from Euro Disney to Eurovision, because also with me today will be Michael. Now, 30 years ago today, a brand new children's programme was launched. It was all about the animal world, Animal Magic. And the presenter had his hands full from the very first moment.
There we are, you little orangutans. Do you know that orangutan means old man of the woods? Yes, old man of the woods. Oh, old man of the woods. Yes, then I'm a little old man of the woods, ain't I? Yes, Henry, a little old man of the woods, but there's no need to behave like one all the time. All right then, I'll be a little old keeper of the woods. You can't catch me. I'm a little old man of the woods. A little old man of the woods am I. Whew.
Please welcome Johnny Morris. Hello, lovely to see you.
Very nice.
Have a seat. Everybody loves it, Johnny, when things go wrong with animals.
They do.
You must have had a lot of experience of that.
Not a lot of things went wrong. We were very careful.
Yeah.
We always studied the animals pretty carefully because in those days television was live and what went wrong you could never ever put right as you can now.
But of course the animals don't work to a script and they don't know what you've got planned for them.
Well, we never really planned very much. We just, it's a mistake to plan animals. You cannot. The first suggestion that somebody made when Animal Magic started years ago, they prepared a script and it started, lion enters left and exits right. Wrong. You can't do that.
What was the sort of aim of the programme? What was the idea behind it?
Well, the aim of the programme really started with the formation of the Natural History Unit in Bristol, which was started by Desmond Hawkins, who was a producer and a writer and an ornithologist. And he got writers and naturalists around him, and they said, that's right, we'll have this program, Natural History, and we'd better have a children's side of it too. So they asked me and one or two other people to do the children's thing. Well, they didn't know what they wanted. We didn't know what they wanted. And so I had the idea to be a zookeeper. Because before that I was a hot chestnut man.
Yes.
This was way back in the 50s.
I shouldn't have said yes, I remember.
Yes,
yeah.
no, you don't remember.
No.
No, I mean, yeah.
I mean, I had a chestnut once, yeah.
And so I said, what we need to do is really bring animals into children's focus to have some proximity, you know, and a touch of reality. And a zookeeper's a very real sort of thing to children.
Yes, I think it sort of scored because you didn't have too many experts there preaching. It was just this lovely warm flow.
Well, we didn't have anybody.
No.
You see, we didn't have anybody to tell us at all. There were people, when they saw the end product, said scientifically that is incorrect. But we were very careful to be correct, always. I was always meticulous in finding out whether this could happen. Unlike Baba the elephant, who went for a ride on his mother's back. Now that can't happen, you see, so we never let things like that happen.
Because you'd had a background in farm working, hadn't you?
Oh yes, I was a farm manager of a 2,000-acre farm in Wiltshire, and we had 600 cows and cattle and 2,000 pigs and horses and race horses. And so it was not a new experience for me to handle animals, which is something that a lot of people never get around to doing, you know, how they feel, how they smell, and what their movements are. So I knew that. And, you know, our domestic animals here there's not a lot of difference between them and exotic animals, you know, that come from Africa and so on.
Well, later in the series, you were joined by Terry Nutkins.
Wasn't I just?
You were. So
Wasn't I just?
Let's have a look at a clip in which the two of you, in Animal Magic Goes Down to Earth, get miniaturised. Now, this is long
right.
before David Bellamy tried out this.
I think it was, yeah.
Uh-oh. Look, there's a frog up there, Terry. And he's got his slippery eye on you, I think.
Do you think it's going to hurt us?
Well, I don't know. They eat worms and flies and insects, but I've never heard of them eating people.
Yeah, but we're very small people, Johnny.
Oh, I know, we're very, very
Be
small.
very careful.
Yeah.
And why is it gulping like that?
Oh, he's only breathing.
Yeah, well, I'm breathing very fastly, but I don't make faces like that.
No, you see, he hasn't got a rib cage and muscles, so he has to gulp the air down, you see.
I see.
Look out! Here's that cat again!
Brilliant. Please welcome Terry Nutkins. Now, that was your first television job was with Johnny, wasn't it?
My first television job with Johnny, and I was terrified, not of Johnny, but of the television job. Haven't changed much since then. I lost a bit more hair, though, I think, haven't
But
I?
was it
In different places?
Different places, yeah. It went over at that time. You see.
Was it an initiation by fire, then, really? You had to get in there and do a live show.
Yeah, you had to get in there and do it, but I had the best supporting act. I mean, what I mean by that is I couldn't have had a better trainer than Johnny. He was the master. Brilliant. And really helped me along, because sometimes I just forgot my lines, and I still forget my lines nowadays, but Johnny was there and he would help me along, and it was great.
Do you have a favourite moment?
In Animal Magic? I think when Animal Magic went to Hong Kong, yeah, because that was fantastic, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
And I rode on the back of a killer whale. I think that was probably for the first time, and Johnny was encouraging me to get on the back of it. But mind you, he was down the other end of this huge, great big tank and sort of waving me on, and it was tremendous, and we had a good week there.
Now, you had a very different background with animals to Johnny, didn't you?
Yeah, very much so. I was born in London. I won't go into it in great detail because it'd take forever, but I was born in London, and I left home at 10 years old and went to live in the Hebrides and work for someone called Gavin Maxwell, who wrote a book called Ring of Bright Water. Yeah. And Gavin became my legal guardian, and I grew up with wild dolphins, eagles, otters, badgers, falcons, and I mean, that is where I grew up. And that's how my interest really started in wildlife. But having said that, I didn't like school. I never went to school, really. And I used to bunk over the fence at London Zoo and play and feed the elephants, and that's what I enjoyed. And it was, I suppose that was the kick-off, really, being able to, as Johnny said earlier on, being able to touch, to smell, and be close to animals. Yeah. That's so important. That, I just can't say how important it is, because that's how I started.
Now, the Really Wild show, we were talking about this before. It just has given it a sort of an 80s, 90s look, hasn't it? But there's still that gentleness.
Yeah, I mean, it's got the razzmatazz about it, hasn't it, really? I mean, and that's all very superficial at the end of the day. The most important thing that Animal Magic had was building up a rapport with children, with the audience. And I know that now because I travel around quite a bit, and people recognise me also from Animal Magic and having worked with Johnny. And constantly people say, Animal Magic, what a wonderful super programme. Why don't we bring it back again? Because really, you could bring it back. I mean, it's not a programme that's old-fashioned. No. Because dealing with animals and children, just give them all their individual respects they deserve, and it's successful. It's there. You don't have to be an expert as such.
But, well, they're not going to actually bring back that, but you've got videos coming out, haven't you, about Keeper Morris?
Yes, it's called The Great Adventures of Keeper Morris, yes, Zookeeper Keeper Morris, yes. And that, I mean, goes back 30 years, but it's proven to be very popular. Now, you could say it's old-fashioned, but it isn't old-fashioned.
No, it's not. Not to children. Children don't think the same way as us adults, do they?
No, you see, the thing that we sort of put Animal Magic forward as animals being very, very close to human beings, which was what I wanted to sort of propound. And to do that, I put voices on the animals, you see, which horrified the scientists. They went blue, you know, they said, "How I do this?" But we were doing it.
Well, of course, kids love it if you put
Children love it, and
way.
they still love it. In this day and age, they love it.
Because all our folklore, you see, all our stories concern animals, all the children's books anyway, animals that talk. And we love animals to talk. My father always used to put voices onto our cat at home.
I did too.
Always.
Well, thank you both very much for bringing us a little bit of animal magic here today.
you,
Johnny
Judy.
Morris and Terry Nutkins.
Thank you.